It started with something simple. My car had broken down the day before. It refused to start at all. So we took her car to run a quick errand. I was behind the wheel while she went inside to grab almond milk and frozen blueberries. Groceries she said we always ran out of every couple of weeks. My phone was nearly dead, and I didn't see a charger plugged in, so I opened the glove box to check if she kept one there. The latch was a bit stiff. I pressed it lightly, and it popped open. There was no charger, but resting on top of some gum wrappers and an old pair of sunglasses was a small white envelope with a gold keycard logo printed on it. It wasn't sealed, just neatly folded. A hotel envelope. I stared at it for a moment. I considered closing the compartment and ignoring it, but my hand moved before I could stop it. Inside was a printed receipt, folded carefully as if saved intentionally. Dinner for two. Room service at the Whitest Stone Hotel in Omaha. $190. 2 main courses, 2 glasses of Merlot, and crema brulee for dessert. The date at the bottom was last Tuesday. I looked at the paper again. Bianca had told me she was working late that evening, preparing a pitch deck for a Dallas startup. She said she was exhausted and didn't want to be disturbed. She never mentioned anything about Omaha. In fact, she had never once spoken of that city during our 5 years of marriage. We lived in Lincoln. Omaha was merely an hour's drive, yet she constantly complained about how much she disliked the traffic. I tucked the receipt inside the envelope once more, closed the glove box, and reclined in my seat. Moments later, Bianca stepped out of the store, softly humming, her keys jingling in her hand. "Did you find everything you were looking for?" I asked casually. She beamed. "Yes, I even picked up your protein bars." I smiled back, but kept silent about the envelope. Not just yet. That Friday evening, we were sitting on the couch. Bianca was halfway through some reality program where everyone was shouting about a dinner reservation, and I was sipping a beer, staring absent-mindedly at the edge of the television, not really focused. I waited until a commercial break. "Hey," I said, "have you been to Omaha lately?" She didn't look up. "Omaha? No. Why would I go to Omaha?" I nodded, just wondering. She finally glanced at me, raising one eyebrow. Strange question. "Yeah," I replied calmly. "I was searching for a phone charger in your glove compartment the other day while we were shopping. Found a few things inside. Thought maybe you had been there for something." She hesitated for less than a second, but I caught it. Then her face relaxed. "Oh, right. I think I drove out there for a meeting. It was last minute. One of the brand clients wanted to meet face to face. Didn't seem important enough to mention. You never said anything." "I didn't want to bother you," she replied too quickly. "It was a dinner meeting. Nothing major. You were at your brother's anyway, right?" I watched her carefully. "Who was it with?" "Just a guy from the agency. Jasper something. We talked about packaging strategies and where to put the QR codes. Pretty boring stuff." I grabbed the remote and hit mute. Then I whispered, "You picked a great spot. The Whitstone Hotel." She paused, not frozen, but like a computer trying to process. I took out the receipt and added, "Room service for 2, wine, dessert." She slowly turned to face me, and for a fleeting second, I thought she might confess. Instead, she responded with a soft, dismissive smile. "That wasn't mine. I grabbed it from Morgan, my manager. It was a client dinner after a meeting with Jasper. Morgan was meant to go but had a family obligation, so I stepped in. I paid the bill and kept the receipt to file as an expense. I must have forgotten to toss it," she explained in a calm, almost indifferent voice. "You spent $186 on a meal for someone else," I pointed out. "Client representation," she shrugged. "It happens." I nodded as if I accepted her explanation. Still, the quickness of her lie told me everything I needed to understand. After that night, something shifted. Not exactly between us. On the outside, nothing seemed different. We continued sharing dinners, passing each other in the hallway with half-hearted smiles and the usual, "You good?" and "Yeah, just tired. But underneath, I started to listen more carefully. Bianca had always kept unpredictable hours. She freelanced in brand design, mostly working on packaging and retail projects, so late-night revisions were normal. Random client calls were nothing new either. But now, every time she said, "I have to jump on a call," I started noting the exact time. Every dinner she skipped, every errand she ran close to 9 in the evening, I quietly logged it all. I never confronted her or asked for explanations. I simply kept track. She never seemed to notice, or maybe she just didn't care. 2 weeks after the unexpected hotel bill showed up, she mentioned she had a strategy meeting on the other side of town. A new skincare brand seeking an innovative approach. They want it face-to-face, just a casual brainstorming session. Nothing serious, she said, grabbing her bag. She said she might be late. "Where exactly is the meeting?" I asked while pouring coffee. She paused briefly. "Oh, that co-working space near 12th Street, the one we noticed last week by that bakery." I nodded. I kissed her cheek, smiled, and watched her leave. As soon as she was gone, I took out my tablet and opened the Find My app. Something she had forgotten was still linked to my account. The location marker was not heading toward 12th Street. Instead, it moved in the opposite direction to a residential neighborhood across town. The marker stopped at a quiet street I didn't recognize. I watched it stay there for several minutes, motionless. She was nowhere near a co-working spot. She was inside someone's house. That evening, she returned around 11:30, her hair flowing freely, cheeks flushed, carrying a takeout box she said contained leftover pasta. "Long meeting?" I inquired. "Draining," she answered, slipping off her flats. "They can't make up their minds. It's like trying to create without any guidance." I simply nodded, keeping silent. I did not mention the location tag. I did not mention the address. Yet I recorded every detail. It was a Thursday when I decided to check things out myself. Bianca mentioned another strategy dinner that night. Same scenario, different client, same shared office space. She left around 6:15, dressed in a black blazer and heels she hadn't worn in a long time. Her tone was calm, but she glanced at her reflection twice before heading out. I waited for 20 minutes, then grabbed my keys. The address she had sent earlier was still saved in my notes. The drive took about 15 minutes. I parked half a block away, engine off, headlights off. After a short pause, I got out and walked the remaining distance, staying on the sidewalk. The building was a 2-story duplex made of brick. The porch light was on and the blinds were halfway drawn. A warm, yellow glow streamed from the living room window. I stopped across the street, far enough to avoid being seen. At 7:03, I noticed her. Bianca appeared without shoes, clutching a wine glass, her laughter gently drifting through the window. She made herself comfortable on the couch, folding her legs underneath. Next to her sat a man in his mid-30s, with short dark hair and a casually buttoned shirt. He passed her a plate and leaned in close, whispering something. She laughed softly again and brushed his wrist. I took out my phone and snapped a picture, not to share or post, just to convince myself I wasn't dreaming. At 7:42, the lights dimmed. They left the curtains open. Her hand rested on his thigh. He leaned toward her. Her head tilted slightly. They kissed. I took one final photo, then I drove home quietly, choosing not to witness anything further. No need to ask. That night, she arrived right on time at 10:24, still barefoot, holding a takeout box. "Long night," she murmured. "I need to shower." From the kitchen table, I nodded. "Everything all right?" I inquired. She didn't meet my gaze. "Yeah, just exhausted." I watched her walk upstairs without a word. My jaw tightened, but I stayed silent. The pictures were already saved. The pattern was now unmistakable. The next morning, while Bianca was still asleep, I went to the hallway storage closet and opened it. Tucked away behind some blankets and board games was her old tablet, the gift I had given her on her birthday 3 years ago. She had stopped using it after she got a new phone. She claimed it was too slow, but I understood her habits well. She rarely signed out of any apps. I plugged the tablet in to charge it. The screen glowed softly with a blue light. No password was needed, just a simple swipe to unlock. I opened the messaging app. It wasn't her regular phone messages, but a third-party chat application I didn't recognize. It seemed to be encrypted. Still, she left notifications enabled. The inbox appeared, revealing a conversation with Julian. The chat stretched back several months. There were daily messages, midday comments, morning greetings, and late-night goodbyes. Some days contained dozens of texts. One message from Julian said he was still thinking about the other night, and how surprised he was by how long it took them to do this. Bianca replied, "Me too. I feel like I've been asleep for years." Alongside the texts were photos. One showed her sitting cross-legged in his kitchen, wearing a flannel shirt that wasn't mine. Another picture revealed her holding a wine glass on his porch. A third one showed them standing close by a fire pit. His arm was wrapped around her waist. I didn't scroll past quickly. I made myself absorb every detail. The toughest part was not the flirting. It was the intimacy. Private jokes I couldn't decode. Nicknames I had never heard before. Conversations about books, road trip playlists, even talks about the future. The kind of exchanges we once had, now happening between them. Then I saw it. A message from the evening she attended the client dinner. When I got home, he asked me where I had been. She answered, "I think he already knows. I hate lying, but I can't stop seeing you." That message sent a chill through my hands. I saved every crucial detail, dates, confessions, pictures, and emailed them to myself. Then I turned off the tablet. That same afternoon, I bought a manila envelope and a new printer cartridge. I didn't plan to shout. I wasn't even going to confront. My goal was to end things calmly and clearly. On Saturday morning, I woke up before her. The house was silent. Gentle sunlight streamed through the blinds. I got out of bed, prepared coffee as usual, and poured it into her favorite cup, the one that said, "Create something beautiful." Then I set the cup on the counter, untouched. Her weekend bag lay by the stairs, already packed. 2 outfits, toiletries, chargers, everything she would require for several days. Right beside it on the kitchen island was a manila envelope. I didn't leave a note. It felt unnecessary. Bianca came downstairs around 9:30, still wrapped in her robe, her hair still damp from the shower. She froze the instant she saw the bag. Then her eyes moved to the envelope. Slowly, she lifted it and took out the papers, one page, then another. Her face showed little reaction, just a subtle twitch near her jaw. "Where did you get these?" she asked quietly. I stayed silent, just sipped my coffee. She continued gazing at the photos and notes. Her mouth opened as if trying to justify herself, searching for an excuse that might still work, but no words emerged. Instead, she walked over to the table and sat down. "This was never meant to get out of control," she confessed. "What Julian and I had started as nothing serious. I never imagined it would reach this point." I gave a silent nod, acknowledging the truth, but it had reached that point. She met my eyes. "Hurting you was never my intention, Gavin." "You just didn't expect to be caught," I replied. She exhaled sharply. "So what comes next? Are you asking me to leave?" I rose calmly. "You no longer live here. Take whatever you want." She stared at me, disbelief written all over her face. "You've already given up on me," I said quietly. "You made your choice long ago. I'm only now acting on mine." She hesitated for a moment, then carefully collected the papers, slid them back into the envelope, and zipped up her bag. "I don't want this to get complicated," she said. "It already has," I responded. "You just hid it better." Without saying another word, she went upstairs. Minutes later, She came back, fully dressed, eyes dry, carrying her bag. She approached the door, but stopped. "You really never suspected anything until now?" I held her gaze steadily. From the moment I first heard her tale, something about it felt too flawless. Then I closed the door behind her. 3 days later, my friend Kevin reached out, asking if I had seen Bianca's latest post. I hadn't, as I no longer followed her, but my curiosity got the better of me. I visited her profile. There was a black and white selfie, her hair falling perfectly, her eyes red as if she had been crying. The caption read, "Sometimes love turns into a prison, and leaving is the only way to breathe again." Hundreds of likes appeared quickly. Comments poured in too. "Proud of you, girl. You deserve peace. Walking away takes real courage." I scrolled through carefully, not surprised in the least. Bianca had always been skilled with tone. She knew how to transform heartbreak into something poetic. There was no mention of me, no reference to Julian, no confession, only pain, artfully presented. Later that evening, I spotted a comment. "You forgot to mention the boyfriend you were secretly seeing. No name, no picture, just a hint thrown quietly." I refreshed the page. The comment was gone, deleted. I stayed quiet, didn't reach out, didn't try to set the record straight. I wasn't about to fight over who looked more shattered on Instagram. I let it go. Just another false narrative dressed up for attention. She controlled the story everyone saw. I held the truth. I logged out of every shared application, transferred the funds from our joint account to mine, and updated all the passwords one by one. After that, I reached out to a lawyer and told him I was ready to file for divorce. Clear and to the point. By Thursday, it was as if she had never lived here at all. Still, that post kept playing in my mind. Not because it hurt me, it didn't. What disturbed me was how easily people picked sides based on the story they were shown. She had rewritten the ending of our marriage into a tale of perseverance. The most irritating thing was that they applauded her for it. But I didn't need their approval. I possessed the truth, and unlike her, I didn't have to dress it up. The first weekend without her was quieter than I expected. Not empty, just peaceful. I went through the closet, packed up her remaining clothes in boxes, and moved them to the garage. I threw out the rosemary shampoo that always gave me headaches, but made her feel special. I swapped the framed photo on the nightstand for a simple print, a winding trail through pine trees. Nothing deeply meaningful, just something pure. On Sunday morning, I brewed some coffee and reached out for a mug, then hesitated. Her mug was still there. Create something beautiful. I gazed at it for a long while. Then quietly, I threw it away and took a simple black one from the cupboard. That was the cruel thing about betrayal. It left no visible mark to show. No injuries, no dramatic soundtrack. It just altered the silence, changed the way your home felt when you moved through it alone. A few days after I posted, she finally sent a message. "Gavin, can we talk once everything has settled down?" I didn't want it to finish like this. I didn't reply because it had already ended. I was simply the last to accept the truth. I remembered that receipt tucked away in the glove box, the one small mistake that unraveled everything. It was not about the wine or the hotel, ultimately. It was about how she told the story, looking me straight in the eye and lying without a flicker of doubt. That was the moment I began to truly value myself again. There is a time when you stop hoping that someone will go back to who they used to be and start protecting who you have become on your own. I had reached that stage. Every record erased, every bond counted for. Every trace of her digital presence muted, blocked, deleted. No revenge, no dramatic ending, just reality, distance, and peace. The months quietly passed. The divorce was finalized. Bianca offered no resistance. No arguments, no negotiations, just the formalities and a calm ending. And for the first time in a long while, I felt no sense of waiting. No reasons given, no regrets shared, just complete closure. That was all I needed.